What is up, everybody? It is Gambito Gaming coming at you with another video. Today I'm taking a look at 10 strange urban legends from video games. Yo, call me Josh Gates of the gaming, dude. I'm gonna go explore some of these unknown urban legends. Anybody remember that stupid fuck? That's right. In no specific order, we're gonna be taking a look at 10 crazy urban legends from video games. Yummer. Yummer is a gaming urban legend that has spooked many out throughout the years. Think of Yummer like that stupid doll that supposedly kills people if you take a picture of them and use the flash on your camera. Think of that doll, but the video game version of him. The mere sight of Yummer sends a chill down many spines, and maybe even killed a couple people. This creature was first noticed in the sprite sheet in the game called SpongeBob Saves the Day. This is an in-browser game, so it wasn't super hard to find the sprite sheet that contains Yummer, and the sprite sheet was actually just located right off the side of the screen. On the sprite sheet for the Krusty Krab level, we can see our boy Yummer chilling out in the bottom corner. He's a small bald fucker looking like Caillou head ass, and he even has a little cheeky smile he's doing. He looks like that fucked up toy from Toy Story. After the dev team got bombarded with emails about the sprite, they finally revealed that Yummer, actually named Yum, was a developer meme they used to prank each other around the office. He was mainly used for modeling tests, but ultimately he was kept in on accident, as it seemed the dev team was using Yummer to scare each other. That's kind of why he appears to be peeking around something in his sprite image. The devs would make Yum peek around the pillars of the Krusty Krab, but the boys ended up having too much fun and ultimately forgot to take the boy out. Super Mario Galaxy DS. Nintendo didn't just expect old people to be swinging around these white sticks playing Wii Sports all day, so they developed this game where you'd play as Mario traveling through space and time. Just space. Mario already kind of did the time thing, and it wasn't so good. Nintendo knew what the fuck was up back then. The hype for Mario Galaxy was real. So real that it was revealed randomly online in 2007 that Nintendo had secretly included a DS version of Super Mario Galaxy within the contents of Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. This may have worked in 2007, but man, this whole hoax is as classic as peanut butter and jelly right now. They then moved on to explain that you need to collect every Power Star as Mario and Luigi and feed them to a secret Luma in the game, who would then give you a download for the DS version via Download Play. Yeah, remember Download Play? Then it would unlock an expanded version of Mario Galaxy, where you could play as both Mario and Luigi, co-op style. Not only that, the cream of the crop is that every Power Star collected in the DS Super Mario Galaxy game counted towards 10 eShop points, which basically means Nintendo was giving out free money just for playing Mario Galaxy on DS. This really reminds me of back in the day when you'd play like one of those game show video games with one of your friends, and they just randomly say, yo, what if the game spat out what you earned in the game show, but it was real money? Like the game printed it out. That's a lot like this, but somebody took that idea and tried to pass it off as real, which is insane. To be honest, I kind of fucking love this hoax. It's so stupid in the best ways possible, and for people to have actually believed this shows where we were as a species in 2007. Since then, though, we have moved on from betrayal of being lied to, and some dude made an actual DS demo of Super Mario Galaxy. This demake is probably the most impressive thing to come out of this hoax, because I can't imagine it's easy to squeeze this into something that looks like this.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Deus Ex predicted 9/11. Listen, I've been one to fall into the conspiracy rabbit hole once or twice, and I've inevitably touched my toes in the 9/11 conspiracy pond. Ultimately, I have always come out way more confused than when I went in, but here's a diet 9/11 conspiracy. If 9/11 conspiracy theories were an app, this one would be the light version you could download for free. In the game Deus Ex, there are several missions that take you to New York City. One of these missions has you looking across the New York City skyline, and you can't actually see the Twin Towers in this skyline. It's mentioned in the game that the towers were taken down in a terrorist attack, so the evidence thus far is pretty damning. I think Eidos is going to have a lot to fucking answer for in a minute. But then when we consider Deus Ex isn't really the only one who predicted an attack on the World Trade Center, like The Simpsons and X-Files, it seems more likely that this was just a coincidence. Especially since before that one that actually worked, there were some attacks on the building, like a car bomb that went off on the bottom of the buildings in the 90s. Look, I'm just saying, maybe they might have had a psychic on the team developing Deus Ex back in the day. But if that's true, they probably would have foreseen that Mankind Divided was so much of a goddamn snooze fest, maybe it wasn't even worth starting in the first place. play as Master Hand. Super Smash Bros. Was one of the first games to really start ramping up the hoaxes surrounding video games. I remember several alone for Super Smash Bros. Melee. One of these ones I actually attempted for probably like 10 minutes was shooting all of the credits in the end of the adventure mode, and this was to unlock Toad as a character. Yeah, I was pretty convinced of this one, but if you don't know, shooting all the credits in the end of the adventure mode is extremely hard and might even be impossible, but that didn't really stop me from running to unlock Toad. And looking back, that was a really lame character hoax. Like, who the fuck wants to play as that little piece of shit? Another hoax, or what I believe to be a hoax, was the ability to play as Master Hand. Master Hand was the final boss of Classic Mode and is one of the most iconic enemies in Nintendo history. Yeah, a white glove. This one is actually achievable in Melee with some glitches, but is pretty limited. And in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you can actually get the opportunity to play as Master Hand in an event in the World of Light mode, but that is the only way you can play as the gloved hand officially. When I think about it, the reality of playing as Master Hand would probably be honestly pretty lame, but the bros were hyped about it back in the day on the schoolyard, so what can I say? Far Cry 5 Static Torture Station. Remember Far Cry 5? I do. It was the last ounce of fun they squeezed out of the Far Cry series before they released the dried up corpse that was Far Cry 6. I mean, it was truly inhumane the way they released that disease onto the world. Regardless of my feelings towards Giancarlo Esposito's summer home payments, I think Far Cry 5 was still a fun, dumb game. The game had you fighting white people in cults in Montana. What's there not to love? I love the setting of Far Cry 5, and the story was just dumb enough to see through for me. There's some tinges of mystery in this game, whether it be weird sounds in the middle of the night, or maybe weird things you see in the corner of your eye while you're flying planes kamikaze style, or maybe it's even a weird, strange noise you can hear on a radio in the north part of the map. That's right, when you're exploring in the open world, you can listen to the radio in the game. Most of the time it just plays local tunes. Maybe you'll hear a little bit of a Rick Astley. If you're tuned into a certain station in the northern part of the map, you can hear some moaning and some screaming. Not the good type either. And it's among static on a random radio station. The weirdest part of all this is it still has not been confirmed by anything officially linked to the game, i.e. the game devs or anybody speaking on behalf of the game, and nobody has found the origin of the screams. So yeah, this one's just kind of left up in the air. I think it could just be assumed that it's just the torture souls of some of these cultists I'm whacking, but could also just be the famed ghost of Montana. Islamic chanting in Ocarina of Time's Fire Temple. The Fire Temple was always one of my favorite from Ocarina of Time, mainly because it wasn't the Water Temple, but I thought the Fire Temple was a great starting dungeon that really let players test the game's mechanics beyond that of what the Deco Tree dungeon let you do. Originally, the soundtrack for the Fire Temple was a bit different than it now remains in later copies. This was due to a religious Islamic chant that appeared over low drones, making a very eerie atmosphere for the temple. Originally, it was thought that the chant was removed due to public outcry against the religious chants showing up in a kid's video game, but recently in the past few years, it was officially confirmed by a correspondent at Nintendo when they emailed game trailers about the subject. They confirmed it was in fact religious chants in the song for this Fire Temple, but there was never any public outcry, and Nintendo simply removed it due to oversight of their no real-life religion in Nintendo games policy. Therefore, they went back and changed it for later copies of the game. I think both get the effect of eeriness across, but I do think the realistic chanting sends it over the top. Koji Kondo is a fucking god, so either one's gonna be an absolute banger for me. Time limit in Luigi's Mansion. It was originally believed that Luigi's Mansion would have worked on a 24-hour timer to beat the entire game, similar to the methods used in Pikmin. This rumor was brought on by the misinterpretation of an early trailer for the game, which stated Luigi had one night to get Mario back. And dumb people in the early 2000s thought that meant the game only gave you 24 hours before your mission is futile. It was believed the mansion would implode in on itself if the player didn't beat the game in the 24-hour window. Some evidence also came from an early build at E3 2001 that showed a timer in the game, but it was later revealed that it was just a timer to show how long the demo lasted for that player. I'm kind of still confused on this theory though. Would it mean you have 24 hours starting the game to beat it, or would you have 24 in-game hours to beat it? Or would it have worked actually like Pikmin, where Luigi goes in for missions for a full day, comes back out, goes back in, and has a 24-hour cycle like that? I don't know, but I'm honestly glad they didn't use a time limit. Although if you think about it, you can beat the game in 2 hours if you're half dead, so 24 hours seems a bit generous. Kirby Red Diamond. Kirby Red Diamond isn't the Pokemon Kirby crossover game you've all been hoping for, but it is rather a hoax among the Kirby/Nintendo community online. It is something of legend among online shoppers, specifically eBay shoppers. This game was rumored to have been listed on eBay often, but when the listings would go live, they would mysteriously disappear without reason, as if someone was purposely censoring the copies of this elusive game. Nintendo officials were reached out to about the game, and it was confirmed that it was, in fact, a bootleg game. So it is kind of likely that there were a few of these games that were legitimately sold on eBay, but it also explains why some of the listings were taken down when questioned. The game itself was nothing more than an NES version of Kirby's Adventure running on an NES emulator built into the cartridge. Overall, not a bad deal, because, you know, Kirby's Adventure isn't a bad game or anything, but certainly isn't the Kirby GBA game you were probably expecting. At least this didn't load up and have like a dead kid save file on it that would, you know, subsequently haunt you and then probably kill you. Madden Curse. Madden has never been a favorite of mine because, you know, I'm not familiar with the art of war, because that's really what those boys are doing out there. Where the fuck do you think the term blitz came from, son? Listen, I'm terrible when it comes to Madden because I never know which play is the best and what differentiates them from one another. You also only have like 20 seconds to choose after each play, so the pressure is really on. Boom, dumbass, you played a pass when you got the guys covering your outfield out there, you stupid fuck. Anyway, all this to say, I'm not the guy showing up to buy the new Madden every year. I'll catch you every 5 years for about 2 games and I'm out for the most part.
I'm out. I'm flat out of
Madden. Madden is a yearly franchise, and every year there's a new player that gets to be featured on the cover of the game. Usually this is a pretty good thing for that player that gets their face out there, gets more eyes on them specifically. But with this, a lot of people have started to notice something strange with the players on the covers of these Maddens that keep coming out. People started to notice a trend where if a player was featured on the cover of a Madden game, they would subsequently get injured the next season or in one of the next few games they played. There was a string of players who were getting injured that made this seem like it was actually a true curse that was happening on players that would be featured on Madden games. But in recent years, it seems like the Madden Curse has been lifted because there's been several players who have been featured on Madden's covers and they have not resulted in injuries. But I will say the latest Madden did feature John Madden, who passed recently, so perhaps the Madden Curse is back, but taking the opposite effect, where players have to die first to make it on the cover. You know, I'd be on the lookout if I was out there playing the fucking pigskin, you know? Purple Yoshi tech demo. In the year 2000, there was a random picture of a purple Yoshi that was posted on IGN. You know, that's what we're doing in 2000. This was seemingly an image from a Nintendo Game Boy Advance game that was to be used for tech demo purposes. This seemed like it had a chance of becoming an actual game, but as the specs of the Game Boy Advance were revealed, it seemed it would be impossible to output 3D gameplay, which is what the game in the screenshot probably would have been. Perhaps this was used to test if it could even run 3D gameplay, and when it ultimately failed, the project was also scrapped. But the image itself simply shows a purple Yoshi with the over-the-shoulder Sony first-party IP angle, and it appears the reticle he has is shooting something. This looks really similar to Yoshi Safari gameplay on Super Nintendo. Unfortunately, this is the only image that has ever come from this project, and there is no official comment from Nintendo on the game. I personally think they should bring back this idea, you know, reskin a House of the Dead game, fucking throw purple Yoshi up in there, strap him up with a couple gats and let him light up some Koopas and Goombas. Throw some motion controls on it with some shitty Joy-Con controls, and man, you got yourself a $40 Switch game right there, son. Alright, that was a few urban legends from gamers' dreams. I went into gamers' dreams. Some of them were nightmares, others were pleasant. If you want me to talk about more urban legends in gaming or outside of gaming, let me know in the comments, or just leave a like on the video. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.